In this video, I'm going to be changing things up a little bit. Today, I'll be taking you to 4 awesome adventure locations across 2 of the UK's national parks, starting off in the Lake District and finishing in the Yorkshire Dales. And these 4 locations all have one thing in common. They all feature in the Netflix hit series The Witcher, and season 3 is almost upon us, so in this video we're going to take a look at 4 locations from season 2. Hey there guys, welcome back to the channel, and as you just heard, I will be doing things slightly differently today in that I'm taking you to 4 separate locations, but what I can tell you is they're going to be 4 very cool locations for you to go and explore yourselves, so I hope you enjoy it. And for those of you that are here for your love of the Witcher series, I just want you to know I won't be covering any major plot lines today, only a few mild ones that are based on locations, so you can rest assured I won't be spoiling anything for you, and I hope you enjoy it. I'm here at White Moss Common near Rydal Water in the Lake District for the first of our 4 locations. We're going to be visiting Rydal Caves and doing a circuit of Rydal Water. The caves featured in episode 7 of series 2. And as you come out from White Moss car park over here, it opens out into this beautiful little riverside scene that I used to visit a lot as a child. This is the River Rothay behind me here, and we're roughly sandwiched between Grasmere Lake and Rydal Water, which is over this way. So from this beautiful scene here at White Moss Common, we're going to head to the right at the stream, down this little woodland path here. A lovely just dusting of frost. Temperatures today are somewhere between freezing point and about 3 degrees C is going to be the warmest we get today. Hence the frost, but fortunately we've not got any deep snow, so that the route's a little bit more manageable. So for those of you that might not have read the books, played the games or watched the TV show, I just wanted to give you a bit of brief background on The Witcher. It's set in a fictional, war-stricken land, beautiful landscape with mountains, forests, rivers and all that kind of stuff. And Geralt, the main character and the Witcher in the series, finds himself in a situation where he's got to protect a young princess that's wanted throughout the land for the magical powers that she possesses that even she's only just beginning to realise. And Geralt finds himself in the role where he's got to protect and train up this young princess called Ciri. And here is that bridge as we look to cross over the Rothay River, following signs that clearly point to Rydal Caves. It's well signposted on the route for those who are interested. And just such a lovely little stream. Great to paddle in during the summertime. Not so much now. Hello, Mr. Robin. And on crossing the bridge, I just find myself on this woodland path, all the colours of winter surrounding me, the colours of death, as I always think. But it is beautiful. Just a few greens breaking through as well, just to break up all the orange. It's a very easy path to follow. The trail just winds through these woodlands, undulating slightly, but ultimately gaining some elevation. It's not a high walk, this. I think you only gain about 150 feet or so. But it's just occurred to me that at this point, some of you may be wondering, well, what is a witcher? There are several witchers. Geralt is just the lead one. But essentially, they are monster hunters that operate within this sort of fantasy fiction land. And they were humans once, but they underwent a magical genetic mutation which turned them into witches, and in doing so granted them with these magical and psychokinetic powers and a really heightened sense for sensing monsters and dealing with them and people as well. All of these powers that they have, they only use for the greater good. In fighting the monsters and keeping members of the public safe. But the irony is that the public actually shun the witches. They seem to be looked down upon as monsters themselves. So it's quite a thankless job that they're doing, but it seems to be an essential job, as there are a lot of monsters in the land. But in the case of Geralt and Ciri, he comes across Ciri as a young princess, and she eventually wants to train to be a witcher herself, even though she already has these magical powers and is much sought after by the rulers of the land. So Geralt has taken her under his wing as kind of a father figure as well as protector. Quite icy on these paths. And at this point, I've reached a fork, well signposted for Rydal Caves. We're going to go straight on. You can go left and just do more of a lakeside walk, but very, very precarious path. And I've not brought the spikes with me today as they broke last time I was out with them. So let's go off-road. Contributing to footpath erosion, sorry. But for the ice hazards, the route's been very manageable so far. I'd say easy, especially if you do this route in the summer when you've not got those hazards in the way. The elevation, it's gradual, it's just a little bit at a time, then it flans off, then it goes up a bit higher. And you'll see this path here now leading up to the caves, which has got quite a few people on it now. But it is only gradual, but it's getting there. It's getting there, and we're left with these wonderful vista points now over Rydal water. Lovely. So Rydal Caves is a former slate quarry, formerly known as Loughrig Quarry actually. As I just mentioned, it's built into the side of Loughrig Fell. And it was operational, I believe, during the late 19th century. And it's basically just one cave that goes quite far back into the mountain. There's now pretty much a pool of water that runs through it now, but as you will see, there are some stepping stones which will hopefully not be too slippery so that we can follow them into the depths of the cave. Lovely little setting with the boulder we just passed there. But after this now, we are approaching the caves. They're coming up very soon. So I just wanted to describe the scene from The Witcher, Series 2, Episode 7, where Geralt has met up with his longtime friend, the bard and musician, Jaskier in the TV show, Dandelion if you follow the books and the games. He's just met up with him and they stop briefly for a pause, and Jaskier bathes in the pool inside of Rydal Caves, and they're having some kind of deep conversation, maybe an argument if I can remember correctly. But yeah, one thing's for sure, today I will not be bathing. And this here seems to be the final bit of ascent before the caves.
At this point, it's worth warning any photographers and videographers out there, the caves are popular and busy. And to get your shots, you'll no doubt have to wait around for many an idiot, but you'll get there, just show a little patience, and you'll get the shots that you need. As I headed over the final rise in the path, the quarry plateau spread out before me. I resisted the temptation to get straight into the caves and took a walk over to the edge to take in the view. But after that, it was time to explore these caves that I procrastinated over for far too long. Years, in fact.
I'm now just approaching the cave entrance. It's actually bigger than I thought it was going to be. This is Rydal Caves. And here we have the stepping stones. And whoa, as you can see, it's a little bit slippy. The stones feel all right. So we're going to walk these stones all the way in to the cave. And as we enter the cave, by the light of the torch, cue some very grainy footage. It does go in quite far. I think what kind of surprises me the most is that this is all that's here. With some of the other quarries that you see around Lakeland, you have big works and multiple entrance points. It's like they got what they needed from here and then decided to leave it. So welcome guys to Rydal Caves. A pretty incredible place. You should see how bluey green the waters are. It's kind of like a teal colour. It's awesome. This entrance to the cave here is where Geralt and Jaskier, or Dandelion if you prefer, have their kind of heated conversation. I think Geralt stood somewhere in the entrance here on the rocks whilst Jaskier is bathing almost waist deep in some water, and it gets deep as you head over there, so I'm assuming that was where it was shot. Quite a cool place to shoot all the same, and quite cool to be here, having watched that first. So guys, that was Rydal Caves. I hope you enjoyed the tour. I hope you enjoyed seeing a shooting location from The Witcher Series 2 and the explanation behind it, as well as those of you that might have just been interested in the route itself. And for you guys that are just interested in the route and the adventure, I'm going to briefly show you now how to get down from here and how we completed today's route. So upon leaving the cave, you look left and you see how we got here. From the path in the centre screen there, across this flat bit of ground. And if we pan to the right, there is an additional route that goes higher. We're not going to take that today. We want to get back down to Rydal Water, to the lakeside path that now circuits it on its way back to White Moss Common. So in order to get there, we're going to follow the path round. It loops round and down, and it literally just rejoins the lake at the bottom there. And that's the path that you should follow. It's a straightforward path. And let me know in the comments if you decide to take this route on for yourself.
At this point, the main adventure of this video has come to a conclusion. It's understandable if you decide to move on at this point, but if you're sticking around, we have a shorter visit to the remaining 3 sites, which are all epic locations themselves. And in my opinion, they're still worth a look. And if you're a Witcher fan, you're definitely going to want to stick around and see the remaining 3 shooting locations. Join me now for the next stop on the tour as we head over to Little Langdale for the next location at Bleatarn.
And this is the beautiful Bleatarn in Little Langdale, and this scene right here sets the stage for 2 different scenes in Series 2. So stick around because we're briefly going to take a look at both of them. In episode 7, in conditions not too dissimilar from what you're seeing here, you've got Geralt and Jaskier and a few other people on horses. They're in a bit of a procession and they're walking towards the camera on this very path. A little bit closer in. There's a couple of higher angle shots, potentially on a drone or a high angle mount. And that's pretty much the scene. They're simply just having a conversation as they walk towards the camera. But this is the setting. And in the background, you've got Bleatarn right there in all of its glory with those majestic Langdale pikes marking the horizon in the backdrop. The second time Bleatarn features in the series is in episode 4, and it's less obvious, and here's why. I think Bleatarn is still unmistakable in the foreground, but in the background they've removed those Langdale pikes and they've superimposed super wintry, intimidating looking mountain scene just to distinguish the scene from the one we just described earlier. And the way this scene plays out is once again, from what I assume is a drone shot from way back there, pan of the lake just here, And Freya Allen, who plays Ciri, is actually skipping along some stones in the shallows here as she does her winter training. It is a very wintry scene. Whether they moved some rocks around because they don't look ideally placed right now, or whether they just got her to run along some rocks somewhere else and superimposed them into the scene with CGI. They're great with these things these days. But that's how it went. So that was Bleatarn, and that brings to a close our second location of the video, and I think you'll agree it is a beautiful setting here in the Langdales, and it's also a great starting point for many a hike in the surrounding valleys. Chantel and I did such a hike back in January. We circuited this tarn, and then we ended up at the top of Side Pike, which you see in the background over there. I will link that video at the end and in the description. I hope you'll check it out. But right now, we're focused on getting over to location number 3 at Hodge Close Quarry. But once again, I find myself with travel issues. I'm stuck in the middle of nowhere. I need to get from A to B. But in the realms of The Witcher, they would travel via magical portals, which basically teleport them to a new location. So why don't we try that? Let's just say I'm conjuring my portal right here around the camera, and 1, 2, 3. Oh. Wow, here we are. Hodge Close Quarry right here behind me. And in episode 3 of season 2, Geralt and Vesemir come here to lay their fellow Witcher, Eskel, to rest, right here in these caves. And in just a moment, we're going to head over here, survey the scene, break down some of the shots, look at the actor placements, and really reconstruct how that scene might have been filmed. So come on, let's get to it. So just to set the scene a little bit, after a busy year of hunting the monsters, the witches all gravitate back to their hideout, the castle of Kaer Morhen, high up in the mountains, away from everybody amongst the snow and the forests, totally secluded so that they can recoup and train and do all the things that they do over the winter. But this cave in the show would have been somewhere nearby, somewhere where they lay the witches to rest. And as we saw in the show, a witcher burial isn't just like any other burial. So this location here seems to be where the main scene took place. But before I go into detail on that, I just thought I'd tell you a little story. As some of you may know, I work for these guys at the North Face, and one day in the store, a gentleman came in, and he had a full zip hoodie on, and it said The Witcher crew on it. So naturally, being a fan of the show, I thought I'd ask him a few questions, and he revealed some interesting information to me. First of all, he said that they had about 100 to 200 people down here. Crew, lighting, special effects, producers, camera crew, actors, the lot. And there's not many parking spaces up there, and it's quite an inaccessible area. The road to it isn't really the most vehicle friendly. So just imagine this scene here with loads of people around, doing all of their different jobs to film the show. And you just got the actors in this area here filming their scene. He also accidentally revealed that there was another project that they were working on alongside The Witcher, which we now know to be the Blood Origin series that recently came out on Netflix. He corrected himself and said, I shouldn't have told you that. So, of course, my lips were sealed. But it was kind of cool to know the inside information. I mean, those who are real big fans of the game and the series will know that the wolf is a symbol associated with the witches. And rather than actually putting Eskel into the ground and burying him that way, they seem to just lay him on what would be one of the stone slabs just here. And from the way it looks in the show, Vesemir would have been sat here, and Geralt would have been sat right here on probably a more comfortable rock. That one is a bit smaller. The one in the show seemed to be a bit bigger and a little bit more convenient for a seat. And they were just having a conversation over his body, because at the end of the scene, Geralt says to Vesemir, it's time to go, or something of that nature, because a pack of wolves appear in what looks like to be this area over here. And the assumption is that when they leave, the wolves will come down and devour the body. So symbolic, because the witches are fed back to the wolves rather than the traditional burial that you might have expected. Quite a brutal end, but there you go. So I hope you enjoyed that. That was Hodge Close Quarry, and now it's time to swoop on over to our fourth and final location of the video in the Yorkshire Dales at Gordale Scar. I need to come clean with you guys. As much as I put a lot of effort into the continuity of these videos, same video, same outfit, right? As you've probably guessed, this is a different day, shot in different conditions a couple of months later than the rest of the video. And certainly not as advertised by BBC Weather. I was going for moody and overcast today, but who am I to complain about a beautiful day in the countryside? Nice blue skies here at Gordale Scar, the fourth and final epic location of today's video. And in just a moment, we're going to get right into the scene that was shot in episode 3 of season 2. But if you want some more information about this place and you want to see it in more detail, I did film a whole vlog about this location. I'll put the link at the top of the screen. I urge you to check that out if you like this place today. But without further ado, let's go see how this pans out. So to set the scene for you a little bit, Geralt and Ciri are travelling through some misty woods when they're ambushed by a centipede-like monster with about 10 legs and an ugly face. It fights with Geralt for a little bit, it knocks him aside and it chases after Ciri. And at that point she runs, she climbs up this kind of crag and she ends up in this gorge. She rounds this corner here and this is how it unfolds. And as she rounds that corner, she runs, and she runs along this path right here, hugging the cliff face and curving up towards the waterfall. And as the monster chases Ciri up the gorge, she's getting desperate. She's at the dead end at the waterfall. She takes refuge right here behind this very rock. She can hear the monster somewhere around the top of the valley, but she doesn't know where it is. So she hides there for a few seconds. After a few seconds to pause and hide behind this rock, she's wondering where the monster is. She dares to peek out and make her move. And then, of course, the monster appears right here at the top of the waterfall, so she runs back the other way. She runs back down the gorge until she finds an alcove to hide in, but not that it really did her any good. She's kind of cornered. And there comes a point where the monster catches up with Ciri and traps her right here in this very alcove, against this wall. The situation looks ominous, and you hope Geralt's going to come and save her. Who knows? You'll have to watch it.
Thank you for sticking with this video until the end. I hope you enjoyed it. Not just my initial adventure to Rydal Caves, but my at times laughable reenactment of the scenes. I hope if you're a fan of the show you appreciated the effort and the detail. It was a one-off, different approach to a video on my channel, and I'd be keen to find out in the comments if you enjoyed the idea and if you'd like to see me explore some more wild shoot locations in the future. Pop your suggestions in the comments, but for now, it's over and out. Don't forget to subscribe and support the channel, and as always, I'll see you out there.